The dust and tire smoke is settling among the hills of wine country, but SVG's road course dominance is roaring louder than ever. The NASCAR Cup Series Toyota Save Mart 350 turned the 1.99-mile road course into a battlefield of hard-hitting mid-pack battles, strategy, and precision. From the sweeping S's to the treacherous hairpin, drivers diced through tight corners, danced with the point of no return, and sometimes stepped over it. In this review, we're breaking down all the action, every battle, and every defining moment that made today's race memorable. So reach up and pull those belts tight one more time. It's time to dive into the NASCAR Cup Series at Sonoma. Welcome everyone to our NASCAR Sonoma race review. Today's race was the third act in SVG's road course dominance saga. You'll notice gameplay in the background from Sonoma, from NASCAR 2005 Chase for the Cup, as we recap and review the weekend. So starting off, SVG ends up sweeping the poles, I believe for the second week in a row. So he took the pole in both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series, but we'll get to the qualifying order in a minute. Let's talk about Saturday's Xfinity race. Saturday's Xfinity race, once again, in my opinion, puts on better racing than Sunday's race. The CW has even started to market the Xfinity Series as the best racing product in NASCAR. Some of that is purely marketing. You understand the CW is trying to push their product, but especially on weeks with dirty air, short track struggles, and road course shenanigans, the Xfinity Series does have an argument to make that it is the more entertaining series. Part of that is due to the driver's level of experience. I have a suspicion that the races would look quite a bit different with a full field of Cup drivers and Cup teams experimenting with the cars. But regardless of what I think of the product, Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch put on a fantastic show, two teammates dicing it up after SVG moved Zilisch in Chicago to win the Xfinity race. It was good to see a rookie hold his ground and take the win. Shane Van Gisbergen is still proving he can run competitive on any road course in any car. William Sawalich also had a decent run. I believe he may have been the one that won the ARCA race as well, which had an excellent photo finish. They also had some crazy wrecks and a wild flip in one of the support races. It may have been the ARCA Menards West Series, I'm not sure which one that was, but look up those lower series moments if you have the chance. Like a guy went off track and flipped. Another guy ended up losing a whole wheel. They had some crazy moments, but especially take a look at that ARCA finish. They were three wide coming to the line with two cars and a photo finish, so it's definitely worth taking a look at. Let's go ahead and look at our qualifying order. As we mentioned previously, Shane Van Gisbergen once again took the pole with Chase Briscoe in second, William Byron third, Ross Chastain fourth, AJ Allmendinger fifth, Ty Gibbs sixth, Ryan Blaney seventh, Tyler Reddick eighth, 9th, Alex Bowman, and 10th, Christopher Bell. So let's get into our race recap. Lap 1, green flag. SVG leads them off. The field stacks up a bit in turn 2, but they all continue. And by lap 3, William Byron passes Chase Briscoe for second. On lap 19, SVG reports he's losing rear grip from a 5-second lead. So SVG complains about losing rear grip, but he still has a massive lead on the field. So if he was struggling, just imagine how the rest of the field was doing. Now, running towards the end of stage 1, you have to look at pit road strategy if you want to come in early to try to flip the stage to have a better restart position in stage 2. So this really shakes up strategy. If you're not running competitive, you have to start considering what you can do different than the leader to possibly gain an advantage. On lap 20, Austin Cindric hits pit road, and on lap 21, Chastain has dropped a couple of positions and was complaining about lack of grip the entire run. He holds on to 5th, but he plans to stay out for stage points. On lap 21, Blaney, Busher, Zane Smith, Kyle Larson, John Hunter Nemechek all pit. On lap 22, Bell, Allmendinger, Gibbs, Elliott, Preece, Keselowski, Reddick, McDowell, Bowman, Logano, Suarez, Herbst, Hamlin, and Josh Berry all pit. And then on lap 23, right before the end of the stage, SVG, Byron, and Briscoe all pit. Byron and Briscoe were pretty much the only two drivers close enough to pit with the leader, Shane Van Gisbergen. On lap 24, Bell spins from the 8th position after getting into Chase Briscoe with a really good save from Chase Briscoe, and it was definitely an interesting moment between two teammates. On lap 24, after pitting, Shane Van Gisbergen rejoins the track in second place. That's absolutely insane. On lap 25, Ross Chastain stays out and takes stage 1, so they were going for these stage points. Also on lap 25, Bubba Wallace stays out to earn 8 stage points. Let's look at our stage 1 results. Ross Chastain in first, Shane Van Gisbergen second, third Bubba Wallace, fourth Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 5th, William Byron, 6th, Ty Dillon, 7th, Chase Briscoe, 8th, Ryan Blaney, 9th, Ty Gibbs, 10th, Chase Elliott. Chastain, Wallace, Stenhouse, Ty Dillon, and Chastain, Wallace, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Ty Dillon all pit. And on lap 27, there was a Shark Week advertisement. It starts next Sunday at 8 on Discovery. Lap 30, we start stage 2. Shane Van Gisbergen leads them off. And the field runs pretty clean up to turn 4, with Blaney running off track after close racing with Chase Briscoe, and he drops a few positions. Ryan Blaney was very heated on the radio and possibly out for revenge. Lap 31, Allmendinger spins in turn 2, and John Hunter Nemechek spins while 3 wide with Cindric and Herbst. Lap 32, Byron is closely stalking Shane Van Gisbergen, and the booth was wondering if Byron was actually running that well or if SVG was actually saving tires for later in the run. The top 4 were right under a blanket. They were within a second of each other, so very close racing at the front of the field. Lap 38, Denny Hamlin and Justin Haley both run off track, and they continue. On lap 42, William Byron slips to 3rd place with Briscoe to 2nd, Blaney in 4th, still trying to run down Briscoe in that 2nd position. On lap 44, Ryan Blaney takes 3rd place from Byron. And on lap 45, 15 laps into Stage 2, Shane Van Gisbergen runs his fastest lap of Stage 2, pulling away from the pack. So he was definitely saving his tires. SVG just runs so smooth at these tracks. I'm not sure anyone can beat him on tire wear at this moment. The booth also pointed out Brad Keselowski was running the 2nd fastest lap of the race, and he was running deep into the field but was having a decent day. Keselowski currently has 0 road course wins, but it was good to see him run consistent. On lap 46, Ross Chastain takes out Daniel Suarez, his teammate. Suarez blocked a huge dive bomb by Ross Chastain. Chastain had nowhere to go and ends up spinning Daniel Suarez. The booth also pointed out Austin Cindric's bumper was pushed in pretty badly. I'm not sure they ever showed where he got that damage, but he was still running in 16th position, so it looks like it didn't impact his day too much. On lap 50, Ty Gibbs continues to fall through the field. He was up in the top 5. He was complaining of no rear grip on corner exit, and he was struggling. You could see it. Anytime he would try to put down the power, the rear end would just snap loose. On lap 50, the pit cycle started, with Bell, McDowell, Reddick, Bowman, Ware, Zane Smith, Austin Cindric all pitting. William Byron and Chris Buescher both pit. And on lap 53, Shane Van Gisbergen and Chase Briscoe also pit. On lap 55, Shane Van Gisbergen takes lead from Kyle Larson and wins Stage 2. Let's get our Stage 2 results. First, we have Shane Van Gisbergen. 2nd, Kyle Larson. 3rd, Kyle Busch. 4th, Bubba Wallace. 5th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 6th, Chase Briscoe, 7th, Ty Dillon, 8th, Chris Buescher, 9th, Ryan Blaney, and 10th, William Byron. On lap 57, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., the Dillon brothers, Barry, Justin Haley, Gragson, Eric Jones, Allmendinger, Catherine Legg, and John Hunter Nemechek all pit. On lap 59, Carson Hocevar gets the free pass, and on lap 60, Shane Van Gisbergen leads them off, Briscoe 2nd. Noah Gragson goes around, he continues, and on lap 62, Buescher and Blaney get together after Buescher gets loose. Blaney ends up going off the track and getting stuck. Bubba Wallace also goes around, as does Denny Hamlin. And at this point in the race, I truly believe that Ryan Blaney might murder someone. He'd already been taken out multiple times, so it was a really bad day for Ryan Blaney, and that was disappointing because it really seemed he had a fast and competitive race car. On the restart, lap 66, Shane Van Gisbergen leads them off, with Chase Elliott making his way into the top 5 for the first time. It's a tight battle through the top 5 while SVG pulls away, and they end up going to commercial on lap 69 with a Shark Week commercial. Lap 74, Kyle Busch spins from 15th place. Lap 80, the green flag pit cycle starts. This may be the final pit stop for some of the drivers. On lap 87, Denny Hamlin was too fast on pit road. And lap 92, Chase Briscoe moves back into 2nd place. Lap 93, Chase Elliott moves into 3rd place, so he continues to move up through the field. And on lap 96, one of the more wild moments in the race, the announcer curse strikes. During a segment on Cody Ware's crash at the Chicago Street Course, Cody Ware ends up losing a wheel. It's another example of why this single lug system absolutely sucks. That's my opinion, but I feel like there's a lot of evidence to back it up. We didn't see this many wheels falling off with the old 5-lug system. This incident brings out a caution that definitely shook things up. On lap 97, Shane Van Gisbergen stays out along with a host of other drivers. That may have been the call that won the race. I completely disagree with the field's call not to pit behind Shane Van Gisbergen and try to overtake on fresh rubber. As Larry Mack often says, if you follow the leader, you will follow the leader. No one was going to catch Shane Van Gisbergen on equal tires. They needed an advantage. So while the rest of the field didn't leave him out to dry, I don't know. I mean, they may have been going for track position. A lot of people were making that track position call, but if they really wanted to compete for the win, they should have come down pit road. With the first driver pitting being Chase Elliott, he restarted in 14th position. So he had a lot of traffic to work through if he wanted a shot at Shane Van Gisbergen. On lap 100, Shane Van Gisbergen leads them off, and Chase Briscoe cannot keep up. The field ends up stacking up behind them. Eric Jones and Noah Gragson spin, and Ryan Preece obliterates Noah Gragson. This brings out a caution on the speedway. Lap 101, Ryan Blaney gets the free pass. Lap 104, we restart with Shane Van Gisbergen holding the lead. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets turned into the tire barrier, and the tire barrier needs repairs. So once again, the lap count is running out. Chase Elliott and all the drivers that pitted under the last caution are running out of time. Now, the broadcast pointed out on this last restart, the in-season challenge drivers were restarting right next to each other. Alex Bowman and Ty Dillon running right next to each other, and Eric Jones and John Hunter Nemechek. This will be something to keep an eye on. On the restart, John Hunter Nemechek takes out Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson doesn't hold the brakes, and Blaney gets taken out again. There's debris on the track, but they stay green. And right after, Josh Berry spins Carson Hocevar. Now, as the laps are winding down, Chase Elliott's running down SVG, but Chase Elliott runs off the track, pretty much sealing Shane Van Gisbergen's win. Shane Van Gisbergen ends up taking the win. Shane Van Gisbergen is now the second driver to ever win from the pole 3 times in a row on road courses, the other driver being Jeff Gordon. Shane Van Gisbergen burns it down during his celebration, and he's had plenty of practice recently to do that. It was probably the most he had used up his tires all day. When Shane Van Gisbergen got out of the car, he actually ended up getting a lukewarm reaction at best from the fans. A lot of people didn't seem too happy, and often when you see this level of dominance, you will get a large pushback from the fan base. Let's go ahead and look at our race results. First, we had Shane Van Gisbergen taking his third road course victory of the year. Chase Briscoe second, Chase Elliott third, Michael McDowell fourth, Christopher Bell fifth, 6th, Tyler Reddick, 7th, Ty Gibbs, 8th, William Byron, 9th, Joey Logano, and 10th, Kyle Busch. As a result of winning, Shane Van Gisbergen jumps up to third in the playoff bracket, who very well could start the playoffs as first seed if he continues to win at these road courses. Let's take a look at our playoff standing. In first, we have Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin second, and Shane Van Gisbergen now in third, also with 3 wins. 4th place, Christopher Bell, 5th place, William Byron, 6th, Ryan Blaney, 7th, Austin Cindric, 8th, Joey Logano, 9th, Chase Briscoe, 10th, Ross Chastain, 11th, Josh Berry, 12th, Chase Elliott. Those are all the locked-in drivers. Now on the playoff bubble, in 13th, we have Tyler Reddick sitting 149 points above the cut line. In 14th, we have Chris Buescher, 34 points above the cut line. Alex Bowman in 15th, 32 points above the cut line. And staying the exact same as last week, Bubba Wallace, 3 points above the cut line, and Ryan Preece, 3 points below the cut line in 17th. In 18th, we have Kyle Busch with a decent points day, 37 points below the cut line. He is slowly working his way back towards that cut line, so keep an eye out for Kyle Busch over the next few weeks. AJ Allmendinger in 19th, 50 points below the cut line. And in 20th, Ty Gibbs, 60 points below the cut line. So that's a look at our playoff bubble. We'll keep an eye on that as we move through the next few weeks. Now let's look at our in-season challenge bracket. First, we had Ty Dillon versus Alex Bowman. On the last lap, Ty Dillon pushes Alex Bowman out of the way and ends up taking the top spot in that battle. Ty Dillon once again moves on to the next round. Then we had 2 teammates, John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones, with John Hunter Nemechek taking the win in that battle. Then we had Ryan Preece and Tyler Reddick, with Tyler Reddick moving on. And we also had Ty Gibbs and Zane Smith, with Ty Gibbs taking that spot. So now our 2 matchups, our semifinals, Ty Dillon versus John Hunter Nemechek, and Tyler Reddick versus Ty Gibbs. So we'll keep an eye on that. That is for $1 million. Overall, it was a solid race and a solid weekend, especially for the next-gen car at Sonoma. I thought Goodyear brought a really good tire that kept the teams off balance all weekend, and it made for very interesting balance issues throughout the race. And if you remove Shane Van Gisbergen from the equation, it may have even been a great race. A lot of people dislike seeing one guy dominate week in and week out at these road courses, but that isn't on SVG. Shane Van Gisbergen and his team are simply doing their jobs and playing by the rules NASCAR established. The pressure is on the field to find a better way to neutralize Shane Van Gisbergen's advantage. One thing NASCAR could handle better to avoid road course fatigue is to balance them out on the schedule instead of this summer smattering of road courses all at once. There was some very passionate discourse all over social media this last week about whether or not NASCAR runs too many road courses. I don't think the discussion would be so loud if Shane Van Gisbergen didn't exist, or if the next-gen car didn't exist. But 2 of the loudest supporters for road courses were Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin, both saying we run too many road courses and NASCAR is a short track and oval series. As veteran drivers and team owners, their voice carries a long way, so keep an eye on that debate as we wait for the 2026 season schedule to be released. Also, to highlight the coverage, I thought TNT did a fine job today. A lot of people were not happy with TNT's coverage of Chicago last week, but it seems like a lot of their errors from last week were cleaned up. and it still doesn't come close to the level of Amazon Prime's coverage, but TNT and True TV simulcasting the race and their extended pre-race and post-race coverage is something I greatly appreciate and enjoy each week. I'm definitely enjoying TNT's broadcast package. Next week we go to Dover. We'll have ARCA on Friday, I believe on Fox Sports 1, Xfinity on Saturday on the CW, and the NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday. Same channel as today on TNT. If you have anything you'd like to comment on or discuss, drop it in the comments below and I'll get back to you. And it may even lead to a dedicated video if the topic is interesting enough. Thank you guys for all the support on the NASCAR news, previews, and review videos. We've also been having a really good time streaming the NASCAR video games. If that's something you'd like to see continue, consider subscribing. If you liked today's video, like it. If you disliked it, dislike it. I'm really looking forward to next week, and I hope to see you all in the next one.